Now we're rolling. Damage Plan MMA podcast. I'm Jason, as always, my co-host, Mr. Zack Partridge, rocking our UFC hats because we had an amazing weekend at UFC 278 this weekend. I'm still on cloud nine. I don't know about you.
I'm still trying to get my voice back.
I know. I was going to say my voice is still a little raspy. That was pretty cool, man. That was, that was really cool. At 4:30 when the first fight started, the arena's more than half full.
Then if for anybody that's never been to a UFC event before, like when I went to T-Mobile for the early prelims, that place had like less than 1,000 people in it.
Yeah,
it was empty.
Yeah, it was at least.
I was about to talk some smack.
Yeah, it was at least 60% full, and it was loud all night, like all night.
Dana loved it. He said they're coming back next year.
I love it, dude. I love it. Look how far the sport has come since the last time. When were they here last time? How long ago was it? 10 years ago?
No, more than that. 7.
7 years ago. And it was at the Maverick Center, wasn't it?
No, it was there.
Was it?
At
Delta Center, Energy Solutions, whatever it was.
Energy Solutions Arena.
Yeah, that's crazy. And now we get a sellout freaking crowd.
And I mean,
oh, it was rocking, Rod. It was freaking rocking, dude. I don't know as loud as some playoff games, but it was pretty loud.
It was not Jazz playoff loud. I'll tell you that. But they do pipe in noise. The Jazz are notorious for piping in extra noise. Yeah. But I've been to Western Conference Finals games when the Jazz games, that place is like shaking. The place wasn't shaking. But I'll say this. We get right into it. I've never been in an arena with that type of energy. It was louder. It's been louder in Jazz games, but I've never felt that type of energy. And for people that don't understand, the best way I've figured out how to describe what happened in the main event is imagine the Jazz are down by 12 points with a minute left in the game, and it's over, right? Yeah. It's over. Yeah. And they're down by 12, but they magically put a 13-point shot on a full court, on a full court heave, and said, hey, if you can hit a full court heave, you get one shot. Hit a full court heave, you win the game. That's like the stun, the stun factor with the excitement after. There's never been a part of anything like that.
I don't know if the Rockhold fight and Costa fight was worth the price of admission, but that's debatable to me.
I've heard people say that was fight of the night.
Dude, I was texting with Blake because Blake's on the floor. He's like, dude, I love this. I'm like, I don't know what fight you're watching, but this looks like two amateurs in there fighting. This does not look like two.
I think that's a little harsh to say two amateurs.
I mean, I'm not. Look,
they both gassed.
They gassed. They have heart. They fought it out, but there was no setups. There's no techniques. It was a bar fight. It was a bar fight.
Whoa, that's rough.
I'm just calling it like it is.
Well, yeah, the gate did break a record because the UFC charges $1 gajillion.
Oh, yeah. If you tell me about it. How cool is it that I run into Meek as I'm walking in, and then 15 minutes later I go to my seat and he's sitting right next to me.
Yeah, that's perfect.
It's pretty cool. That was fun.
I think Elevation's a beast, and some people weren't ready for it. I don't think Luke Rockhold was ready for it. I don't think I think Costa held up okay.
He looked like he always does to me.
You know what though? If you're Costa, you can't feel good about that.
No.
Remember the old glass chin?
Yeah, you should have finished him.
Everybody. Luke Rockhold has a glass chin. Glass chin. Held up pretty good.
Held up pretty darn good. Pretty darn good. Should we start from the bottom, or you just want to talk about the ones that kind of stood out?
Whatever.
Victor Altamirano started off the night with a TKO. That they started off the night good.
I actually thought that
throwing.
Was like probably the best performance. Like,
yeah, they were throwing down.
He was awesome. Hunter got a picture with him. He was hanging out in our portal.
Yeah, that's what you said. You were texting me saying he was right by your portal. That was cool. Then we had Jay Perrin and the Mongolian Murderer. That one went to unanimous decision.
That fight was fun though.
Yeah, that was fun. I thought the early prelims were probably the best fights.
Quality.
As far as quality, I thought the early prelims set the tone. Amir Albazi, dude, that was freaking. First of all, he's a freaking stud. And then his little interview with Joe Rogan afterwards, when he acted like he needed a translator.
Yeah.
Did you notice? Did you catch that?
Yeah.
He was pretending that. That was pretty funny. He's a problem, man. He could be a problem.
What cracked me up is how little he is. He's sitting in the row next to us.
Yeah.
For the rest of the night, he was sitting in the row next to us. Dude's tiny.
I don't know about you, where you guys were sitting at, but where I was sitting at, there was like a level change of stairs. It was like big stair, big stair, big stair, and then a small stair, like right on the row we were at. I swear to you, at least 20 tripped. Everybody around us, the people behind me, the people across, we were all laughing. By the end of the night, we were all looking at each other. Here it comes. Here it comes. Boom, face plant. It was like the highlight of our night. Well, till the main event.
It's hilarious.
AJ Fletcher, Losa. That was a good fight. That was a good back and forth. We were wrong on that one. We both picked AJ Fletcher.
Well. I don't think I was totally wrong on it. I think the ref missed a moment where Losa was out on his feet. Go watch it.
I'll have to rewatch it again.
It
looked like he was still fighting back.
But he wasn't. There's a point where his eyes are rolled back. You can see it. Lights on, nobody's home. And he's basically like leaning. He's out on his feet. And then he falls. And the way he falls, it just happens to look like his arms around Fletcher's leg looking for a single leg.
Well, wasn't it that
Fletcher blew his load? Because you don't go from 0 to 100 until you have somebody finished. And I felt like he's like, I got him. And he load, and he had him finished. And the ref didn't stop it when he could have. I'm not saying Fletcher got robbed. I'm just saying that ref could have definitely stopped that fight. I think it was Beltran. He definitely could have stopped the fight, and nobody could have said it was a bad stoppage.
What was it? Was it the first fight of the night that I texted him like, if he dies, he dies? Like Dave was like, forget it. We're just gonna let these guys fight. We're just gonna let this guy.
I thought it was great. Yeah.
I thought it went a little too long.
Defending himself.
He was eating some shots. His eyes were.
He ate some shots, but I mean,
his eyes were in the back of his head too a few times.
He was still in it. I didn't hate it. I mean, I thought it was entertaining. I think at that level, at the UFC level, you should let him go until you're certain.
Much farther does his eyes need to be in the back of his head?
You're overly critical.
So I missed the Sean Woodson, the whole first round, which was, I guess, the whole fight in this one. We were standing in line getting my hat. I was getting a hat. The guy in front of me.
Okay.
There was two people in front of me. I swear the two people, we picked the wrong line to get to because the 5 lines onto the right of us were just cruising through. There must have been 5 people that went. And the guy in front of us was like, can I see this? Can I see this? Oh, can I have that size? Can I have that size? So we hear everybody cheering. And then we come back in the second and third round. We're kind of duds.
Oh, so Saldana dropped him twice.
I heard about it.
He dropped him twice. The first time he dropped him, he walks away and points to the center. He's like, no, we're going to finish in here. No, dummy. You take half. He lost half his money at that point. Everything else is absolutely irrelevant on Saldana, the what ifs, because it comes down to that first time that he dropped Woodson and he didn't finish the fight. It was over. 1-2 follow-up punches, ref stops in. He literally let him recover to stand up to try and bang it out in the middle. What a dummy. Fight IQ, 0. That's another one I stand by. I picked the right fight. He should have won it, but he's a moron. Take the win. Take the win.
What about
You idiot.
there's a little judges controversy in that one too.
Yeah, if you go look at the scorecards, yeah. You know
Bell
what?
had it 28-28, Cleary 27-29, and Montanez 29-27. That's Saldana and Woodson. Saldana was the first number I called. Yeah, I don't know. I thought, because I got back in time in that second round when Woodson had on that buggy choke. I thought was, I don't know how close it was to finishing, but it looked tight.
So it was interesting. I texted one of the judges that wasn't working that night, and I said, "How do you score that?" Because he's on the bottom, right? But he's controlling the position. But is he just stalling? Because there was a moment where the buggy choke, I think, was tight, and I think Saldana got comfortable and safe, and at some point it was threatening, but also at some point it became non-threatening, and it was just stalling.
Yeah.
And so that makes it a little bit tricky, but at the same time, that was the most impactful moment in that round, and I believe that fits the criteria that that Skeletor gets the nod for the round, in my opinion.
Yeah. What else do we have? Next up, we had Jared Gordon against Leandro Santos. Gordon looked good in that fight. I thought he looked really good.
Yeah, really clean.
Gordon looked good.
He had some interesting things to say about the press conference about how fighting doesn't do anything for his livelihood. It's actually a negative effect on his overall life.
I don't think I listened to that. No, I didn't listen to that.
His interview on Fight Week was weird.
Tybura and Romanov looked like he was going to cruise to victory, and Tybura picked him apart for the next 2 rounds. Good fight by Tybura. I thought it was a good fight.
I mean, that's huge. I mean, Romanov looked like the beast that nobody was going to want to fight and was going to march his way right up there. I mean, kind of like, I think everybody, I don't know how I view Romanov as like maybe a major threat to Tom Aspinall because of his elite wrestling.
Yeah.
Young prospects coming up as heavyweights.
Coming up, yeah.
That I'm like, his wrestling is so elite. But what did we just see? We just saw somebody, if you can deal with him and make him expend a ton of energy in the first round with those. I mean, those slams are fun and they make the crowd go ooh and ah and this and that. But man, trying to hefty around another 250-pound men a couple times, it sucks for the guy on bottom, but it takes a lot of energy for the guy, doing the lifting. So I think he needs to figure out how to be a little bit more selective because he's now in the level of competition where a couple slams and ground and pound isn't going to get it done. Tybura was a veteran. He was super underlooked in this fight. And man, when somebody shoots for a takedown or goes to the clinch for a takedown, once that energy level, that energy bar gets below, 80, 70%, and everything slows down just a little bit, the shots aren't coming as fast.
Nope,
they weren't. A lot easier to stop takedowns. If you have 2 tired guys, it's a lot easier to sprawl as a tired guy than it is to get the energy to push a takedown. Now, if you get the takedown, you're on top and you win, right? But I wonder if Romanov does have a bit of a cardio issue. If you remember the fight that I think he wrongly won against Juan Espinosa, the winner of the 28 tough heavyweights. If you remember, Juan stopped his wrestling too because Juan's a grappling specialist himself. And they both and Romanov gassed in that, and he won basically off of a nut shot.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
and I didn't think he should have won that fight. Romanov might have a cardio issue, and fighting in Salt Lake City with the Ed Elevation. That's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Good for Tybura, though. I mean, that guy's kind of
really good.
He's kind of the guy that I don't want to say he's a dark horse because I don't think he ever wins a title. But you better.
He's a tough out.
You have to be legit.
He's going to be a tough out for anybody trying to get to the top. Yep.
You have to be able to be special to beat him.
Starting off the main card was Tyson Pedro and Harry Hunsinker. Hunsinker, I think we knew how this was going to end. Harry's just in over his head. Tyson looked phenomenal. That body kick.
That teep.
Nasty. Tyson Pedro, man, that was pretty cool. Giving a shout out to the Salt Lake crowd. That was cool.
Yeah.
I love those Aussies when they come up here and fight.
Yeah. Tyson's fun, man. I think after his layoff and then the 2 performances that he did, and again, all credit to Harry Hunsinker. Dude, drops down to weight class, looked phenomenal. He just ran into a buzzsaw. He was kind of a sacrificial lamb in that fight. If the UFC could give him some matchups that are more like even-ish, that's somebody I think I could really get behind. I like him a lot. I'm friends with him on Facebook, and I just follow him.
Yeah.
He seems like a really, really good guy and a really interesting person and somebody that I could get behind. Like I just like him as a person. And I think he's a good fighter. I think Tyson Pedro I think he'll be a contender in the next couple of years.
I think within the next year he will be. You give him 2 more fights, he's creeping up
the
there.
question is, how active are you going to be? You get some people, they'll get off that long layoff and they'll fight 2 or 3 times quick, and then their body will be like, slow down there, buddy.
Slow down, bro. How old is he? He's
tied to Tuivas's cousin too.
He's 30, so he's only 30 years old.
Yeah, he's tied to Tuivas's cousin. Remember, they kind of came up in the UFC together, and then he lost, and then Ty lost shortly after, and then they both kind of had their downturn. Ty lost. He took time away, but now it looks like they're both back.
There was a guy in front of us that did a shoey after he won.
That's weird.
Yeah, he did it though. It wasn't his shoe either.
No,
that's pretty gross.
Not doing that.
Next up, this fight was kind of fun too. This Lucy Lova and Mulan Wu. Lucy looked pretty good, man.
Yeah, we picked her.
Wrong. Mulan Wu.
No, I picked Lucy.
Did you? I think I picked Wu on that one.
Because John Kavanaugh was in her corner.
Oh yeah, that's right. And then next, what's that?
Yeah. I'll say this. Remember, Lucy got terrible in the UFC, got cut.
Yeah.
Went on a nice streak out of the UFC, and is back. Did that look like a you know who it might be a little of a Dustin Jacoby there? Like she knows what it's like to get cut, and she doesn't want to, because like she probably fought, other than Altiamato, she probably fought with the best urgency and killer instinct.
I was impressed.
She was out there to 100% kill.
And we thought that fight was going to be like a dud, and it wasn't. The fight after that was the dud of the night. Davish Lili and Jose Aldo, I think people were okay. I shouldn't say that was a dud. Here's what I'm going to say. How much do you think Aldo was worried about Merab's takedown? He had great takedown offense, but do you think he didn't commit because he was worried if he overcommitted on something, he was going to get taken down?
Yeah.
Do you think that's why he was so hesitant?
100%. And
I think you can even say that about the main event too. I think Edwards was a little gun shy too.
One thing that was really frustrating for me, or not frustrating, that it disappoints me.
By the way,
okay,
Aldo clearly got the loudest pop of the night. That place was doing nuts when Aldo.
Okay, so Goosebumps when his music hit, same music that Cole Faust walks.
Oh yeah, I got it on. I recorded it.
It just chills. I just got goosebumps again. Just
thinking about it. Yeah,
dude. And if that was Jose Aldo's last fight, a lot of people are coming out and saying Rob said that Aldo's told him that he was retiring, and if that was his last fight. I don't really even care about the performance. I just think it's really cool to say that we've got to see Jose Aldo fight in the UFC octagon in person. Like that's really cool.
For real though.
Hey,
yeah, that would.
Thanks, Sean.
Can't win them all.
Ship it, MFR.
Yeah.
So No, so here's what's really disappointing to me. That somebody like Jose Aldo, who's been doing it as long as he has, and we just saw this with Rose Namajunas a few months ago, that are so unaware of how the scoring works that they actually thought they won those fights with zero offense. Jose Aldo was shocked that he didn't win.
I felt
he fell to the ground in shock that he didn't win.
I felt that he could have won the first round. I don't know if I can see this. Maybe won the first round. Maybe.
As soon as you heard a 30-27, you knew.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what they had it scored. So two judges gave Aldo, D'Amato and Chris Lee gave Aldo the first round. Mike Bell gave.
He probably had the most offensive output.
Yep. That was it. No, there was two guys. I wish I knew where these guys were from. Some MMAfighting.com gave the fight to Aldo.
Wow, that's just bias.
And some Casey Layden guy. There was two media guys gave that fight to Aldo. You need to pull their credentials and freaking give them to us. We can go to the press thing next time.
No, I mean, I love Jose Aldo. I was cheering for him. I really thought that was a good fight for him to win. He's made a career out of stopping wrestlers from wrestling, and he did that.
He did. He really did.
He completely negated Merab's wrestling, but he got controlled for 3 rounds, basically, where the fight took place in cage control and everything. Here's the other thing. I heard somebody else. This is somebody else's take, but I thought it was a great point. Does anybody realize that Merab just fought Jose Aldo for 3 rounds and didn't have one mark on his face? That's incredible. That's incredible. Aldo jacks people up.
How about having a win against Aldo and you ain't getting any credibility with Dana White? Did not like that fight. He was not happy with that.
Well, here's the thing. Merab didn't do really any damage either. Neither of them did any damage.
Neither of them did.
Right? Yeah. I would say the most damage is Aldo probably landed 3 really hard leg kicks when he landed them. It was like, oh, that would suck, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't land one really hard leg kick around and then be held against the cage basically and running on the outside basically to do it. It's hard. And the other thing is Merab. It's whatever. Cheeto Vera probably thinks him because I think that put Cheeto right in the driver's seat for a #1 contender.
I think so too. Even though Merab shot up 3 spots. He's number 3 now. Vera's 5.
Off the performance, Vera's going to get the opportunity before Merab does.
Yeah, exactly, Jordan. That's people have been saying that for a long time.
Yeah, but so Jordan knows this as well as anybody. So in the fights, you do a lot of damage throwing those leg kicks, right?
Yeah.
The next day, you can't walk either.
Yeah,
30, 40 minutes later, like throwing those kicks, you can't walk either, right? And Aldo said, like, he's just like, dude, that Faber fight that everybody talks about, everybody's seen the damage from Uriah Faber's leg, and it was purple and everything. One thing that people don't count is Aldo went on an interview and said, I couldn't walk for like 2 or 3 weeks after that fight.
It's so crazy.
Because his legs were just, and he's like, I don't want to do that anymore. Like, that's not a smart way of doing it. So he just tries to pick his spots to do those. But I mean, he's done. Like, I think it's pretty well known. Like, it sounds like he's retiring and going to retire. I hope he does one more fight in Rio.
I know you and I were texting about that.
January card in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. That's where he should retire.
Yeah. You and I were texting right after the fight. Give him one more fight. Give him a Dom Cruz or something. Give him somebody.
Dom.
Well, you want him to go out with a bang, right? Dude, Dom Cruz in January. Why not?
Hold on. Can we give him
who else are you going to give him?
Shut up. I'm looking it up. Calm down.
What if Dillashaw loses, give him Dillashaw in Brazil?
No, because he doesn't beat Dillashaw.
You don't think so?
I know so. He doesn't beat Dillashaw.
You sound pretty confident.
I am. Give him Frankie Edgar. Let him and Frankie Edgar do it one more time.
Poor Dom, and you're going to give him Frankie Edgar? I would rather him fight Dom.
Dom just got slept. Yeah,
DJ's a bad fight.
Yeah,
man.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's too good.
So this co-main
give him Song Yudong after
Song Yudong because
after
he's fighting Sandhagen, right?
In 2 weeks.
So this co-main event, I have never seen so many people divided on saying it was a good fight and bad fight, good fight, bad fight. I hated it. I hated it.
So one. Here, let's just encompass the whole thing.
Let's do it.
For you to say it's a bad fight, I think you've got to take it for what it is, right? Paul Acosta, not exactly a fan favorite. Luke Rockhold, he was a prick all week and kind of always is. Right?
Yeah.
So nobody, like, I don't know if anybody was really cheering for either of them. It's more of just cheering against the other person that they hated more. So let's talk about that aspect, you know? And then they are both gassed after a round. And it's like Luke Rockhold, it's like, dude, you're used to fighting in 5-round fight main events, and like, dude, he didn't even make it a round and a half before he was just on fumes. And then the Eraser, this terrifying knockout artist, couldn't knock out the guy on fumes. So from that aspect, technically, I agree with 100% with George Young. That's probably the worst Luke Rockhold I've ever seen, because at least in those fights where he was getting knocked out and slept, he was fighting.
I don't even know if there was. I mean, yeah, I guess there was carnage because they were pretty busted up. They were throwing.
What do you think about when Rockhold is like, dude? It almost reminds me of like the old WWF matches when like somebody gets hit and then they like wobble and then they hit the other guy and he like wobbles. You know,
that was. I mean, I guess that was. Yeah, for me, it's like you're in the co-main event of a UFC pay-per-view and you're gassed halfway through the first round. Come on, man. Like, I'm not taking anything away from these guys. Obviously, I don't get in the cage. They gutted it out for 15 minutes.
You got to be respectful.
They gutted it out
on that level. Like, you got to respect it.
I would expect more from two top five middleweights that are fighting in a co-main event to not. Your job is to freaking not gas in the first round. Like, come on.
Yeah, but you have to appreciate the heart. Neither of them quit.
I gotta respect that.
Commendable. From an entertainment value, I do think the fight was entertaining because there were moments in that fight because you thought that either one of them was going to drop at any second, and neither of them did.
I love how the fans started off cheering for Costa, and by the end of the first round, everybody was cheering for Rockhold.
I texted you.
I know. We're like, we're going for Rockhold now. We're going for Rockhold.
At this point, I'm just cheering for Rockhold. Like, this is kind of crazy. The fact that he didn't get knocked out in the first 3 minutes, like I thought, it was kind of crazy.
Yeah, he. Maybe you had to be closer to enjoy it. Like everybody that I've talked to that watched it on TV thought it was great. Blake, who's obviously down on the floor. I'm sitting there like, what fight are you watching? Because this is horrible.
What did you think of Rockhold smearing his blood all over Costa's face?
Weird, super weird. Like, what are you doing, dude? That
was probably the most gangster moment of the whole night.
I will say, Joe Rogan is a professional. For him to get in there and do that interview and say what he said, I got to commend him for that. That was pretty badass. That was cool. I mean, he nailed it. I got to open my vent. It's hot down here. But, all right, let's talk about the main events because that's what we all want to talk about. Okay. We see Usman get takedown for the first time in his career.
It was nice, too.
And controlled. And he had his back. He had some submission attempts in there.
None were close.
No, they weren't close. But he had his back. He saw a jab Usman did see a jab that wasn't there. So, what are your thoughts on the fight?
It went exactly like we thought it was going to go until it didn't. We said Usman would make it ugly, which he did. Grind him up against the cage, take him down. I thought he was a little more aggressive when he did have him down. I felt like he was trying to do stuff. He wasn't just holding him. He was throwing punches. I will say he was grabbing the fence way more than Leon Edwards. He was grabbing the fence a lot and didn't even get warned about it. I thought that was a little off, but whatever. But yeah, it was actually a cross, but that freaking cross kick. And well, I mean, that's Southpaw special, like 101 for me. That was one of the very first things that Aldo taught me at the gym as a lefty.
Yeah.
Is to hide your left high kick with your cross, right? You set up your cross. I bet money there's no three.
See, he already came out and said he wanted to go to England. He just said it. It was either today or yesterday in an interview. He said, I want to go to England and fight Usman in England. I mean, Edwards. Yeah.
And Dana
Edwards said it too.
That's
he has a good point, though. It could be.
What?
I mean, he could go up to light heavyweight, but I think it's too big of a fight in England to have Usman and Edwards fight there. That's a huge fight.
No. I don't know who this is. I can't see who it is, but you're wrong.
We'll cheat over. Yeah.
I'll bet you money that we never see Kamaru Usman at light heavyweight now. Here's the thing. I made a TikTok video on this. I think you saw it. Oh gosh. Here's the thing. The MMA, these fighters.
Oh, it's Meek. He said it, but he said it earlier in the week.
I know, but these fighters have a way of getting a little too big for their britches. Their confidence, which is what makes them great and elite fighters, and that's awesome. But they have a way of I've been doing this for so long. This isn't a challenge anymore. I need to do something challenging. Well, I can't go up and fight Izzy at 185. Maybe I should go up to 205 and fight those guys. Like, I'm good enough to do that. And then the MMA gods hit him with the humble stick right over the dome and say, hey, Leon Edwards just slept you in front of your daughter in the front row, and everybody else. Like, if you don't think that Kamaru Usman doesn't have something to prove now, again, at the welterweight division, you're crazy. If he moves on, that's just, I think that would be an admission to me that he knows that Leon's the better man and he doesn't want to do it again.
Yeah, I saw that the interview this morning. I watched it. He said, let's go to England. He's like, I'm already planning it in my head. Like, I've already been thinking about things that happened in the fight. I'll be really curious.
It's 100% the fight to make. Now, here's the thing. I did a poll.
People around me were leaving. Oh yeah, people were leaving.
It's so stupid.
You are stupid leaving.
You can't do that in this sport. Let me here. I did a poll. This is what I cannot believe, and I believe you voted. I did a poll on the Fierce page.
I voted Edwards.
In the rematch, 48% of people have Edwards. 52% have after Kamaru, even though Kamaru was cruising to a 49-46 victory before that one moment happened.
Well, you can't say he was cruising because he lost the first round. And
three.
I thought
from 2 on, Usman was in
three was close. 3 was closer. Round 3 was closer. 2 and 4 weren't close, but I thought 3 was close.
Closer.
But it wasn't dominant. It wasn't dominant. You can't tell me he didn't get. Now he felt it. Now he knows he can get back up. I just think his confidence is going to be sky high. And Usman, dude, he goes from thinking he's untouchable to getting freaking slept. Like Masvidal, he got Masvidal slept.
Yeah, that's the other
He
thing.
got Masvidal slept.
For as much as he talked about Masvidal and doing that, that's a little bit of karma too. And fighters need to stop doing that because the only one that gets to do that is Khabib because he's never retired. Conor used to make fun of people and then he got slept by Poirier. Like you've got to stop doing that if you're a fighter because eventually you do it long enough, it's gonna be you.
And the people saying that was a lucky kick, he set that up. He was setting that up.
That was not.
Anthony Smith was saying, hey, he was throwing that inside leg kick the whole night. And they knew Usman was ducking his head. Every time he threw that cross, Usman's ducking that head.
So he took advantage of the perfect moment. You can't say that he was like, you can't, one tiny mistake. You can't say it was a lucky kick because he executed it.
Beautifully.
What he's lucky is that when he finally decided to throw it that way, that Kamar's defense was off. That was the fortunate thing for Leon Edwards, right?
Yeah.
So and forgive me if I'm wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure I understand this right. So if you're right hand to right hand, right?
Yeah.
And I sit there and I throw my left hand, which is my jab.
Yeah.
You're going to slip off that way, right? The way that Usman did. But left to left, if you slip off to your left on the cross, it walks you into that head kick. It's why it's there so much, right? Like I said, it was one of the first things I was taught as a southpaw. Like that technique is there because right-handed people are used to kind of slipping into it.
And
it wasn't a lucky kick.
He didn't throw that all night though either, did he? He didn't throw a high kick. He was throwing the inside leg kick, wasn't he?
But what I'm saying is, when you say he set it up, it's not like he was like, well, if I'm not winning, I'll know in the last 60 seconds.
Oh yeah, I think he saw a moment though. I think he saw.
Yeah, exactly. He capitalized on a moment, which like to try and take away, discredit what Leon did and say it was a lucky kick that's crap. But he is fortunate because here's the other thing. Other people saw it. I think I said anything. You see, Jens Pulver called it.
Anthony Smith. Yeah, a lot of people
Henry
did.
Cejudo, there was a camera on him.
Yeah.
And a minute before it happened, Henry said, the one hole that Kamaru has in his game that makes me nervous for him is he opens up a little bit too much on the feet and he there's holes.
Yep.
Ego's a son of a gun in this game. And when you think you're untouchable, but you have holes, at Leon's level, like he's capable of finding those holes and he found one. You have to give him credit for that. But I think there are holes that can be addressed. And I think if it's a three-peat, I think Leon gets absolutely wrestle dominated for 5 rounds.
See, I don't think it goes that way. Here's something that needs to be addressed too. What did you think of Leon's body language at the end of the 3rd and 4th round?
Leon,
because he looked defeated.
He pays his coaches, he should double it because they were the ones that kept him in that fight.
Because he looked going into the corner after the 4th round, he would look like he was done.
You texted me, he broke.
I know. I'm like, dude, he broke. Like he looked like he was done. For him to stick in it though and still pull it off, I just think
it's one of the greatest moments we've ever seen in UFC history. And this is one of the things I said. And people, I'm sure he loved it and it was fun. And am I saying whatever? I had a great time with my kid at it. All honesty, compared to the last few fight nights and stuff like that, card under delivered.
I thought so too. I was telling people asking me.
And even if that moment doesn't happen and Kamaru Usman's the champ and stuff, it would have been like, dude, it was a great night. It was really fun. But like matchup per matchup, the event was great. But matchup per matchup, like Aldo Moraba under delivered. Honestly, Rockhold Costa, as entertaining as it was, I really thought we were going to see somebody getting sent into the 9th realm and separated from consciousness horribly. And
yeah,
it was going to be like, until that moment, I would have said the overnight matchup by matchup under-delivered for the most part.
I thought so too. I was telling people I felt the experience was it was priceless for me to be able to go there and experience that, and the energy that was in that crowd. I wish I would have had a camera. And Meek, you were sitting next to me. That kid that was sitting next to me that was saying Edwards was going to win all night. He kept saying it, even in the 5th round. He's drunk as hell. Edwards is going to win. I trained him. I drove 9 hours. He's still going to win. He's still going to win. And then he pulls it off. I wish I would have had a camera on that kid's face. He was like, he's just looking around for like 2 minutes. The kid didn't even move. I'm trying to congratulate the kid. Wasn't having it, man. But that was that. Yeah, he had a vision, right, Meek? That kid was like, his poor wife was like, now I got to owe him $100 because she bet him $100. She thought it was over too. It was an unreal moment. It's awesome that we all got to experience that live here in Salt Lake. It was unreal. So as far as watching the fights, I'm like, I would much rather, if I want to watch them and like really watch them. Yeah. Yep. There you go, Jordan. Favorite part, seeing friends in the Utah MMA community working. It was awesome. It was just awesome seeing everybody there too. Just friends there.
Yeah, we saw everybody. We saw
everybody was there. Oh, I mean, everybody. Like I had some guy pull me out of when I was walking up. He's like, dude, you have a podcast? Is that your podcast? Because I had my podcast shirt on. Yeah. He's like, oh man, I'm going to subscribe to it. That's awesome, man. It was just an awesome night.
Yeah. So here's the last thing. So remember when everybody kind of crapped on GSP during his title reign for being boring because he just kind of wrestled everybody?
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I did that, the longer you're on the feet, I'm sorry. Maybe you feel differently because you picked Leon to win in the 3rd one, and if you believe that, that's fine, and time will tell. I do not believe the better fighter won that fight. I think if they fight 10 times, I think Usman wins 8 or 9 of those times. But this was my first Tuesday. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, but that's what's so great about the sport is it doesn't matter. It's just the one and you have to tip your cap to Leon. He was the better man that night. But I don't like Kamara can retire tomorrow and still be a top 3 welterweight, maybe top 2 or 1 still all time. Kamara could never fight again, and he's cemented in history as one of the greatest UFC fighters of all time. Like, Leon's really good, has the chance now to be great. If he beats Kamara,
beats Usman again.
Well, you beat Usman again, and then what? And then he starts going through Colby, Chimaev, all those matchups. He very well could do it. I don't think he will. But what I'm saying is, GSP played it safe, and Usman basically got to the point where he was like, yeah, I'm good here, until he wasn't. I could see Usman go. You'd be like, you know what, the striking stuff's cool. I'm glad I have it in my back pocket. But the longer you keep it on the feet, the more chances you are to getting caught. Where if Usman would have came out and just decided to wrestle him for that 5th round, Leon, he doesn't give Leon the opportunity to do that.
Yeah. I mean, he was probably a little tired too.
But cardio's never been an issue for Usman.
The only reason I picked Edwards is because I don't know how Usman comes back from that.
Well,
okay, you're a fighter. Like, how many fighters have we seen get knocked out like that? Name me one fighter that's come. Tell me right now, a top fighter like that that's been knocked out that's come back and been impressive. That was pretty. I mean, if there's anybody that could do it, I think Usman can.
DC, Stipe,
win.
Poirier,
win. Who knocked out DC like that? And when did he look better?
When did he look better? I mean, not like slept. Poirier got slept. and has gone on a great run since.
Who slept Poirier?
Connor did.
Yeah, but that was way early in their career. You're talking a guy that's in his mid-30s.
GSP.
You're talking a guy that's in his mid-30s that got knocked like that. Got knocked out like that. Not early on in their career and then bounced back.
GSP.
Who knocked out GSP and did that?
Matt Serra.
I thought he armbarred. Oh, he did knock him out, didn't he? He did knock him out, didn't he?
And then he went on a nice long title run again after that.
He was still early on. I want to see it. That's all. I just want to see.
Okay, but let me counter with this. Who do we always talk about as the two most mentally tough people?
You're right. Usman. That's what I mean. I want to see it now.
So if anybody can do it, it's probably Kamaru Usman.
He's saying all the right things now.
Okay. Well, I don't think he gets to where he's getting by being fake. When you say he's saying the right things, I don't think
it's fake. I think he's
handling it the right way. Here, you ready for the irony of all this? You ready for a fun little irony correlation that I thought of instantly?
Yeah.
Muhammad Usman was losing his fight earlier this month.
Yeah.
And with a well-placed timed shot, slept Zack Puga and boom, right?
Yeah.
And then the same thing happens to his brother. Like that was a little eerie to me. I was like, that's kind of weird.
How big of a fight is that going to be in England?
It's massive. But so Usman has the ability, because Leon Edwards showed that he has the ability to wrestle now, right?
Yeah.
But if Usman comes in and it's like, no, we're not even going to play around on the feet. We're going to wrestle for 5 rounds. And he comes in with that mindset, he absolutely just wrestles Leon to death. And he has the ability. I believe he has the ability to do it. I think it could look a lot like the Tyron Woodley fight. What Usman did.
Yeah. Man, yeah, that's probably
going to be pretty fun.
Yeah.
It's part of the sport.
Oh, what a great
I'll bet you she was fine when they were playing cards on the private jet with her dad, and he was smiling. That picture they posted the next day.
Yeah. Somebody was saying they saw him walking out of the arena and they said he still wasn't all there. Still didn't look like he was all there.
When you get slept like that, it takes time. It takes time. That's the big thing. I just don't. I would hope that Usman takes the appropriate time off before he gets into a camp. But I mean, man, that's the fight to make. Hey, sorry, rest of you welterweights, Chimaev and everybody. You're gonna get put on hold because you have to do that fight next. You have to.
You have to do. Yeah, you have to do it. And they both want it. They both want it.
If you're the UFC, I am pulling the plug on Burns Masvidal so fast, and trying to find somebody that Masvidal can win and can
so he can get a win.
So that he can get a win, so they can justify a Leon Edwards Jorge Masvidal fight in case Leon wins.
Edwards sleeps Masvidal too.
Probably.
But I still want to see it.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that Masvidal. I don't know if he sleeps him like that. I think Masvidal has a better striking IQ, and I don't know if he because I mean it's different to get slept by somebody that you think can't sleep you versus somebody that you know is dangerous on the feet, so you have to respect him or whatever. But what I just saw from Leon is Leon could wrestle Jorge to death, I think.
Yeah. He's
Leon's a far better wrestler than Jorge Masvidal.
He's a big 170er too. I mean, Usman's big, but Edwards looked pretty big in there. What a special moment, dude. What a special moment for us. That was freaking awesome.
Yeah, but that welterweight division is going to get fun. I just do Burns and Colby Covington, please. Please.
Yeah, why do it? Let's go.
Like, why doesn't anybody talk about that? How is that not done?
No clue. No clue.
Yeah, Hamza and doing the Nate Diaz BS and number 1 contender.
Sean Brady and Bilal Muhammad. Brady should win that one. Yeah. Shavkat Rakhmonov. He's coming.
Chimaev.
He's coming. Chimaev's coming.
I think you do Colby. Burns. And if Chimaev wins, which I think he probably will, not totally counting out Diaz, but then you can, and then let Chimaev fight them. The winner of that, like Usman and Leon do their thing over here, because that's where the belt needs to. That's where the belt needs to chill for a little bit.
Here, how about Rachmanov and Jeff Neal? That's 11-6. Because Luque's above him, Masvidal's above him. Brady's already got a fight, or Thompson, Rachmanov and Thompson, but I think he.
Don't do that to my boy.
I know that's what I'm saying. I like the Neal.
Oh, do we like that?
Yeah, got the matching hats, baby. It was pretty cool seeing Farragher down there. Everybody, Dan. I know I text Dan. I sent him the picture. I said, "Beats sitting on two 12 packs of Coke, doesn't it?" Oh, that's awesome. That's freaking awesome. What else do we got? We have anything else happen this weekend?
No, there's no UFC this weekend.
No UFC this weekend. We got 2 weeks, and then we got we do have
Contender Series tonight.
Yeah, we have one on Prime Video. Demetrius Johnson rematch against Adriano Moraes on the 26th.
Good luck.
This Friday. That'll be a good fight. Who else do we got? What is the next UFC card? Oh, it's Tuivasa and Gain.
Oh my gosh, I hate that fight so much for my boy Tai Tuivasa.
Oh, Robert Whittaker, Vettori.
That's a fun fight. I think Whittaker destroys Vettori, but
Charles Jourdain and Nathaniel Wood. That's a good fight.
On that fight. But okay. I mean, stylistically, could they have given Tai Tuivasa a worse fight?
Yeah, that's a bad matchup for him.
You got to give him guys that'll stand and bang with him, man. You can't get a guy that's going to run circles around him and kick the crap out of him.
Happy anniversary to me and my wife. Thank you.
And Jason.
I still unbelievable. I just couldn't believe how electric that crowd was. Everybody's face was just like, what just happened? You want to know what I'm happy for? That I was actually watching it live and not looking up at the big screen, because I caught myself doing that a lot.
Looking up at the big screen because I kept watching it in the cage, and I glanced over and I asked Hunter. I said, "Are you watching it more on the screen or there?" Because if the answer was on the screen, I'm like, "Then we're staying home next time."
Yeah.
And he's like, and he goes, "No, I go back and forth, but I'm mostly watching it in the cage." I was like, "All right, cool." Good.
That was me, but I would catch myself looking up, and I'm like, "All right, just look in the cage." We had the stupid
time I look up is on like the grappling stuff.
Yeah.
Like when Leon had his back, like I wanted to look to see how, like if it was like under the chin at any point or anything, you know.
Some kid got punched by someone.
Marcus. Oh man.
I ran into Marcus. When I was waiting in line to get out.
Oh, I didn't see him. That would have been good to see him.
Yeah, I saw him. Yeah.
Good luck in your fight up in Montana coming up here.
Yeah, he's got some guys fighting this weekend too at Crown, I think. Isn't his brother fighting this weekend?
I think he was
cousin, brother.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, there was 2 guys in our section, big fat drunk Hispanic guy and a big dude, white dude. And they were like flipping each other off and MFing each other and stuff like that. And everybody in our section's like, well, just watch the fights down there. Nobody wants to see you 2 fight. Like, shut up.
Oh man.
You could just see there's just maybe a little too much testosterone in that arena. Like people were like walking around like mean mugging people. I'm like, stop. You're not gonna fight anybody.
I didn't see anything where we were at that looked like it was. I mean, even the long bathroom lines, everybody was chill. I didn't see anybody too crazy. But you start serving alcohol at 3:30 till 10, you're and all the pre-gamers. Yeah, you're gonna get some hotheads in there.
I think Mark and Mason were tailgating like fat boys at Vivint. They probably stuffing their faces with burgers.
I had Meek sitting next to me. We saw a kid walk by with one of the replica belts, and I'm like, "Why don't you go take it from him?"
What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do if Meek says, "Give me a belt"?
Nothing.
Do nothing.
He just took a boxing match a couple weeks ago. He said,
"Oh, good for him."
Yeah, he was locked on the cage, man. He was like, I want to be in there. That's good.
I know a guy.
It's awesome. Yeah, that's what I told him.
I know a guy that can make that happen.
Yeah. All right. Is that it for today?
That's it.
Are we going to record on Thursday? We don't have any breakdown to do.
We can take the week off.
All right. If we have something to talk about, we'll be here on Thursday. If not, we'll see you guys next Tuesday.
We'll see you guys
see you guys in a week.
We'll do some fighter interviews next Tuesday since we want.
Oh, that's what we need to do. We got to start right. Yeah, we'll do fighter interviews. Maybe we should start Thursday. Thursday and Tuesday, we'll schedule the fighter interviews for Fierce Fighting Championship, baby.
There's going to be a couple title fights. We just had to reschedule an AMI title fight, but it's just moving to another card. It'll be fine. But we got 2 pro title fights that I think we should. I think we should have them on the podcast together.
Together? That could get crazy. Yeah, I'm excited, man. That's gonna be a good card. Co-main, both title fights. We're gonna crown some new champs. We're gonna crown some new champs, baby.
Just make weight, everybody, please, so we don't have them just sitting here.
My money's on my money's on those guys all making weight. I think
I'm not even worried about those guys.
Yeah. All right, we'll see you guys. We'll have some fighter interviews Thursday to knock out and Tuesday. We'll see you guys. Thanks for tuning in. We are.